This episode is presented in partnership with Airbnb. Y'all ready to celebrate independence in style? Get yourself a guest favorite spot and make your summer memories in one of the most loved homes on Airbnb. Now, let's roll. Okay, y'all, today we are talking about a show that's got everybody buzzing. Forever on Netflix is not just a love story, it's a real story. It's about first love, identity, family, and what it means to grow up Black in a world that doesn't always see you clearly. And at the heart of it is an all-powerful class and a portrayal of Black motherhood I've never seen in a minute. Dawn Edwards, played by the incredible Karen Pittman, is a high-powered finance exec doing everything she can to protect her son. She's not perfect. She's overprotective, fierce, vulnerable, and she loves hard. The kind of love that holds you tight and holds you accountable. Karen brings so much soul and truth to this role, and I promise by the end, you might just be texting your mama, thank you. Baby, this is Keke Palmer, and baby, this is Karen Pittman. Come on out, Karen! This hair, this outfit, this body, I can't. I love you. I've fallen so deeply in love with you. How are you?
I'm so good. Good to be sitting across from you.
Oh my gosh, it's such a treat for me. Seriously. I fell in love with you on the show. Obviously, all my friends love you from the morning show as well.
Mm-hmm.
So this was just like a love story with Forever. But when I was, looking.
Well, can I tell you how I fell in love with you?
Oh my gosh, please tell me.
I fell in love with you at the Essence Black Women in Hollywood when you introduced the award
for Cynthia Erivo.
For Cynthia. And you were so personable and heartfelt and thoughtful and lifting up Cynthia. And what a crazy time, that is between these award campaigns.
Gosh, it's so much, yeah.
You campaigning.
Yeah.
And you just did a beautiful job of bringing how much we love Cynthia into the room. We did, and we love her and everything she's about. So that's where I fell in love with you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And before, they didn't get to see this, but you did the riff. And I realized that you went from being an opera singer to financing to acting and got your MFA from NYU while pregnant.
Yes, that's true.
Those aren't pivots. Those are leaps.
Yeah.
You have to take me back there and what gave you the courage to, A, tackle all the things you were interested in at once, and then not be afraid. As a mom, it's not, it takes your mind places.
Well, I think the reason why I made all of those leaps in the moment was because I just saw all of the signs in my life pointing me in the direction of purpose.
That's right.
Of intention, of it leading a meaningful life. And there's nothing I've done more important with my life than become a mother. So when I became, and you know this, when you are a mother for the first time and then you find out you're having a boy, you're like, I got to get this again.
Yes.
I cannot fall down on this because I want him to see the first woman that he cares about in the world. I want him to know that what that is like to be with a strong, stable woman who's happy and full. And
that's right.
And so, going from Northwestern to New York, going from opera, because I wanted to be a recording artist. Now I wanted to be Whitney Houston.
Wait, so you went to Northwestern too, just like Mara?
Like Mara did.
Now, did you guys ever cross paths
We did for a little bit there.
Oh,
but
that's incredible.
Yes. So we did for a little bit there, but I really was at the School of Music, which was kind of its own, it was a conservatory really experience there. So you didn't see a lot of people, so I went from singing opera, wanting to be Whitney Houston. I wanted to be Celine Dion. I really did. I thought I was going to be a diva. And, I was in the music industry right around, all the things that was happening that we talking about right now.
That's right.
They was happening.
My mom was also a singer as well. She's talked about the same things. Just trying to find stability, but not wanting to sell yourself. And trying, you know what I mean? It's tough.
There were a lot of vampires, vipers, all the things were out there in the industry at the time. And I did not get caught in a bad situation. Thank God. And I think about all the women that did get caught up in those bad situations. And I think to myself, I don't know how, but my path pushed me towards marriage and children and acting. And it was out of a real sense of desperation that I actually auditioned for grad school. It wasn't because I thought, oh, this is what I really want to do. It was like, girl, you got to do something.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Mm-hmm.
That age-old mother wisdom that we have as Black women, which says you got to make a way out of no way.
That's right.
So what's that way going to look like? That's what I went about figuring out when I found out I was pregnant with my firstborn.
Yeah.
And that's how I made that leap.
And where are you from?
I was born in Mississippi.
Okay.
And I was raised in Nashville, went through Chicago to land in New York, and now here I am in LA.
Now, NYU, you got to tell me a little bit about that experience, because, I mean, I know it's incredible, especially for artists. I didn't go to college myself, but I feel like I could have been, I would have been interested.
I feel like you didn't need college. There's some people you meet and they have so much wisdom. They come out with so much wisdom. They take in these lessons. My father would say, experience is not the best teacher. Get your education in school. Be in school, Karen. That's a loving, warm environment for you to learn all these things in, because if you have to learn it out in real world, it's going to be so hard. The consequences are harder. So I went to Northwestern, as I said, and I was really I was a square peg trying to fit into a round hole.
Sure.
So that wasn't a good experience for me, that undergrad experience. I didn't enjoy it. But once I got to NYU as a grad actor, I really knew more of myself. As we said, I had an infant son when I started the graduate acting program.
Did you have any help? Did your parents come down?
Yeah, at the time I was married to an extraordinary man.
Oh my gosh.
I was married. Mm-hmm. He was supporting me. He wasn't supporting me because,
But he was there. He was there.
He was there. And
you had your infant son, you had your support.
That's right.
It was getting better.
That's right. Yeah. And I knew myself.
Your experience with college.
Yes. I knew myself.
Yeah.
And the teachers there were really about creating a program around your particular artistic perspective.
Yeah.
Not feeding you an artistic perspective to develop your own ideas. They said, "What
incredible.
It was extraordinary."
Because you don't always hear that about going to theater school, but sometimes it can force you. So it's amazing to hear that they kind of were really actually helping you develop your artistic voice,
your own idea, and so that was really helpful.
And you would say that's when you really fell in love with acting.
That's when I fell in love with the work.
Yeah, yeah.
Because acting is one thing, right? But the work of being an actor, it's a science. It's an art. It's observing the world. It's allowing yourself to daydream. It's deciding you're not going to work and learn lines, but you're just going to daydream. You're just going to deliberate. You're going to relax. You're going to go places and travel. It helps you see people and see things in a different way. And you need that as an artist. You can't be working all the time, So it helped me to develop that.
So what made you do the jump to California? Because, I mean, obviously you could stay in New York and just kept doing theater or doing, Law and Order.
Law and Order.
But California's a different type of vibe and direction for artists.
God gave me a path.
Yeah.
I worked on a television show called Yellowstone.
Oh, yeah. Taylor Sheridan.
Yeah. That character was Willa Hayes. And I came out to the western part of the United States. I hadn't been out there for a while.
Yeah.
And I was breaking up with somebody, and
love that. See ya.
I said, Lord, give me something to get out of here, because I don't need to be over. And then I came this job, and went to work on Willa Hayes, which was this extraordinary experience. And Taylor Sheridan's shows are just so good.
He looked like he should be in the show, too.
He been in the show.
He looks like he wrote that show.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you an actor?
Yes, he was seriously. An actor before.
He gives that down.
Yeah. And his characters are so vibrant. They got such great dialogue.
Yeah.
I think that is because he's been an actor. And so while I was out in Utah, I spent a lot of time in the western part of the United States, and I thought, there's something about this area of the world I need to be in.
Yeah.
And I was bouncing at the time from Los Angeles and Utah, and then God just made a path for me to come out here. I had been
You just
bi-coastal.
kept getting roles, I imagine, too.
Yeah.
Now, the morning show, did you guys film that in the East Coast? You filmed it in the West?
Filming in LA.
Wow. So you just started getting more and more work. And then obviously Forever. I know Forever was shot here.
Forever is shot here, which was extraordinary. Yeah.
So let's get into Forever, because honestly, I saw you, and I was saying this to Mara, because I had her on, and I was talking to Wood, and we even had a little moment where we got to talk to Michael. I fell in love with the show, and I fell in love specifically with you. Obviously, Michael and Keisha, that love story is real, and I related to that from having remembered my first love. But now as a mom, I found myself being like, the mama is the one.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you read the script and you saw this Dawn, this character, what made you drawn to her?
Well, I didn't read a ton of scripts before I started with this role.
Were you familiar with the Judy Blume book?
I was familiar with
Because I wasn't.
I was familiar with Mara.
Yeah.
I knew that she had centered Black women in her shows for her entire career.
That's right.
And that's decades. And I thought, after having been a part of shows where women were centered in it, where women told the story, I understood what that world would look like. But I also thought, I need the right collaborators. I need the right stories. I need the right cast of people around us to support a story. I understood how important that was and Mara's commitment to it. I knew that Regina was going to do it. I didn't know Anthony Hemingway. She said, Karen, this is a beast of a role. It requires so many nuances and so many different ways of coming at the way a woman feels when her son is about to go out into the world, a Black woman feels. And I'm wondering if you have room in your schedule. What are you doing? Are you interested? I was like, girl, yes, I'm interested. What are you doing? I'm doing that.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah. Y'all, I am still thinking about this incredible girls trip I took a while back at this amazing Airbnb. When I tell you we lived our best lives, the spot had this gorgeous backyard jacuzzi, and our host was so sweet, walking us through how to get those jets just right. We had in-house massages all day, and the kind of peace and quiet you can only get when you have the whole place to yourself. That's exactly what I love about Airbnb. You can search through their guest favorites to find some highly rated, most loved homes that give you the space to truly celebrate your way. And this 4th of July, whether you're looking for a spot with a spacious deck made for family barbecues, a cozy living room for late night card games, or prime locations to catch these fireworks, these homes hit different. And child, having your own space means celebrating without worrying about hotel neighbors. So, this Independence Day, declare your freedom from ordinary vacations. Book an Airbnb and create memories that will have you feeling patriotic all year long. Trust me, it's the kind of celebrating that'll have you saying, God bless America and Airbnb. This episode is brought to you by Saks. Hold up, let me put you on to something major. Your summer just got a whole lot more luxurious because Saks Fifth Avenue is now on Amazon. Whether you're hunting for that perfect John Batista Valley dress for your bestie's botanical backyard brunch, or that stunning etro caftan for your Amalfi Coast getaway, Saks on Amazon has got all your summer moments covered. I'm literally obsessed with this new Balmain beach tote that I've been eyeing for my next summer vacay. And it's not just the vacation fits. We're talking effortless luxury for every moment with Stella McCartney's new sustainable sundresses, some must-have D&G sunglasses, and all the designer handbags and beauty products you need to serve all season long. From brunch to boardwalk, rooftop parties to resort pools, Saks has curated the perfect edit for every summer scenario. Have you seen their weekend wear collection? With these pieces, you'll be giving certified head-turner status on every boulevard. And don't even get me started on their accessories. Your girl is adding those new Balmain sandals to cart expeditiously. The cherry on top, it's the luxury shopping experience you love from Saks. With that easy Amazon delivery we all live for. Get the Saks designer brands you love delivered just like that. New on Amazon. I mean, to see the character Dawn, she's such an emotionally aware and well-rounded mother figure, Black mother figure that we haven't seen really in general on television. When you were, what made you think in doing the show that made her so important right now in this generation?
Because I don't think we've seen this Black mother.
That's right.
We've seen this mother through the prism of Bill Cosby and Claire Huxtable.
Yeah.
And Kenya Barris and Bo.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know her last name. And even Norman Lear and Esther Roll and Isabel Sanford. We've seen this woman, but we've only seen her through the gaze of a man.
That's right, one-dimensionally.
One-dimensionally. Yeah. I mean, there are beautiful actresses who opened up those characters and allowed. I'm a big fan of Tracee Ellis Ross.
Oh my gosh,
but I thought that I want to see a Black woman tell the story of the Black family. Yeah. And I thought, who better to tell that story? The matriarch.
That's right.
And who better to tell that than Mara Brockett Keel? And I have my chance to throw my hat in the ring of who I think this woman is. I have a strong perspective on what it is because I love being a mother.
Yeah.
I've learned so much about myself as a human. Not every woman need be a mother, but I
No,
did
yeah,
to
sure.
grow. And I learned so much about my mother, my grandmother, and just about myself. And I thought, I have a take on this human. And as an actor and as an artist, I want to throw my hat in the ring and show people who I think she is.
I mean, there was so much tenderness between the relationship of, your character Don and Michael's character Justin. How did you waver that balance of, what your experience has been raising your own son and what the script was calling for? Because, we always put ourselves into our work as actors.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of me in Dawn. Michael is an extraordinary actor.
Y'all chemistry was so good.
He's so sweet. And you just look at him and you want to, baby, come on over here and sit next to me. Do you know what I mean? You want to do that. And Wood was extraordinary in how he balanced out all of the energy I came to set. Because when I came to set, I was like, shimmying. I literally was like, let's go, let's get this going. And it was so important for me to show the many different colors of what Black motherhood looks like, to paint with a lot of bold colors, but also the softer colors that we need to see of who Black women are. We're not a monolith, as we often say to the world, but there are multitudes in us as women. And I don't think we've yet to see all of those on screen.
I lived for seeing Don smoking that weed in Martha's vineyard, kicking back, hanging out, getting real with the sun. The moment in the car, I was like, this is me. When you guys come from the baseball game, the practice, and Keisha has, totally disrespected him. He's like, son, I want you with a Black woman, but I don't want you disrespected.
Yes.
And I was like, yes, because not my son. Like, I found myself, the moments were so real that you guys created. And speaking of real, Dawn has a moment where she's talking about Justin being out at night and the fears of, unfortunately, we have to have raising Black sons. Where are they going to get pulled over? Are they going to know what to say and do?
Yeah.
I'm wondering, how you wanted to approach that scene and how you approached it in real life with your own son, because it's kind of a loss of their innocence.
It is. It's a total loss of innocence. I don't think that young boys have to manage their egos as much as young Black boys do. From the start, when these young boys come out, they're like, I can do. And then we say to our boys, no, baby, take that. You got to take that down because you're going to get hurt if you keep going out to the world like that, So, what was interesting in that scene was that Wood had the real balance of, this is what you need to do when you go out, the practical, pragmatic sense. Well, Dawn is just, gripping the, she's freaking out.
Which is so mom-like.
It's so mom-like, but it's also great to have that balance there. I think I hear a lot about people loving the balance between Eric and Dawn and what that experience is like for them watching it.
I love seeing that because so much of Dawn and Eric reminded me of my parents, because my mom was always very much like Dawn. Like, and my dad was always like, trust the kids.
Right.
I love that scene where, he's like, you want to be a man, let him be a man. Let him be, what do you think of I love the display with Keisha's household, where she's raised in a single parent home, and her views of love, I think, are impacted by that, or relationships are impacted
100%.
by that. Not good nor bad, but just impacted. And then you have Justin, who has this total naivety that is like, why not? Because he's seen Dawn and Eric. What did you think about that display in the show? Because I think it's important.
So meaningful.
Yes,
so important. There's a scene in the very first episode, I think, first or second, where you see Dawn and Eric in the bleachers at the baseball game, and they're being tender and kind with each other, and Dawn gives him a kiss on the lips, and he brings her something and those are the little things that bridge the distance between what we see of these parents or what we see about love. These are the little nuances that only Mara could write. As an audience, we are so desperate to understand how does it work? How do these people stay together? Do teaching but also entertaining at the same time? How does a couple stay together? They kiss each other in the little bleachers when they're watching the baseball game. They support each other. They say, baby, settle down. Let me do this. My father would often say to my mother, I know you know a lot, Ray, but you don't know everything. And that helped her to sort of, okay, yeah, all right, go ahead, do your thing. Do you know what I mean? And I think we need to see that a lot more.
I definitely do. I love seeing that. And again, I love seeing it with the boy character. Mara was telling me how she switched, from the Judy Blume's book Forever. That female character was the protagonist, was the one we followed, was the one that was considered the pure, the untouched.
Right.
And then to have a Black boy in that position in the show, I think it's important because it shifts the concept of dynamics. It opens up the opportunity for us to look at what a sexually awake young woman really is or looks like in society.
It's far more modern.
It's far more modern.
It updates it. It helps you to understand, and it makes sense to me that this young African-American girl actually has a little bit more sexual experience. She's explored herself a little bit more in the world.
Especially because so many young Black women are sexualized early on.
100%.
And it's almost something they're expected to perform.
Right. Right.
And
very early on.
So when she has that moment where she actually gets with Justin, we realize that she's actually not sexually experienced.
She doesn't have that much knowledge about it. So important.
I love that
I can't tell you how many times people come up to my daughter, 15 years old. We're sitting down for dinner and they're like, what would you like to drink? I said, she wants some water. What are you talking about? She has water. She's not drinking no wine. It's the way they age us up.
They do
as young women. It's crazy.
It really is.
And I constantly have to remind people, my daughter is 15. My daughter, even when she was 12, my daughter is 12. She's not old enough to understand. You can't talk to her like that. You need to be more mindful. Do you know? It's really the way we have to protect and take care of our children. I think we certainly show that, how the balance of that in Forever.
Yeah, it's a great balance. I do want to touch on again, just the realities for our young men. There's another great scene where Don says to Justin, we got cops out here shooting Black boys like it's open season, and I'm tripping.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, but then I also felt, oh my gosh, how do we, and this is really more also about your actual life with your son, how do we balance having these conversations with them? I mean, we had Trayvon Martin, then we had George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery. There's been, this has been happening all the time, all of my life, but now, these are the names that I know in my generation.
Right.
So it hasn't ended.
Yeah.
How do we protect our sons and their joy and their, we got hashtags online, Black boy joy.
Yeah.
While at the same time keeping it real with them. Because, Justin, he wants to live life. In this moment, I'm just having fun being me. I want to be there for my girlfriend. I don't want to have to worry about this. But these are real realities.
Yeah, I think the challenge is that we have to empower them. We have to teach them what Eric was doing. Teach them how to manage these situations from a place of strength and calm, centeredness. We have to keep them aware of the importance of mastering your emotions, mastering your appetites, mastering your all of those things that go along with being a man. You have to be a master of those things. They cannot master you, and that takes real that takes real detachment as a mother, sometimes as a parent, but that empowers them. I certainly got parented from this place of fear and scarcity, that place of you got to be, one of the words Dawn uses, undeniable.
Yeah.
And I think that...
Girl, it's true. I feel like I felt that my whole life. Even though I'm not a Black boy, I'm a Black girl.
Yeah.
And I felt the same way, that I have no other choice but to be undeniable. And I accepted that.
Right.
But it's hard, and I'm sure you can relate, and this is probably where you were heading.
Yeah.
It's hard for a parent to show love,
right,
while constantly trying to prepare the child for the harsh worlds out there. And I can imagine even harder when we're thinking about a single mother or a single parent household where a mother's raising a son.
Right. Well, because you're instilling a sense of what you want to do is tell them how important it is, but what you're instilling in them is they need to be afraid.
Yeah.
And so they need to betray themselves in the process of what do I think, or I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I need to be obedient to my mother and my father's will. Actually, you need to know your own will. You need to be able to articulate that. And that's what I've tried to instill in my son. What do you want? What do you want to see? And that has taken his well-being, his emotional and mental and psychological well-being has taken the precedent in our relationship.
Yes.
He's now at a point where I have to figure out the moment where I can be his mom and where I really just need to sit back and be his friend. And you still have a young child where you can be his mom 100. I wish I could. I want to cry. I weep over the fact that my son is now not where your little boy is. You can sit him in your lap and have him, love on you and hug your neck.
But when I seen that moment of you and Justin in the car where she goes, I think it's right after, it's either Martha's Vineyard or right after that episode where something, he's getting in the backseat, he's about to cry. And she's like, well, she's trying to talk, or maybe it was when they were in the house. It was one of these moments. Dawn is trying to talk to him, and he's like, I don't want to do that. Like, let's just go. I don't want to be late.
Right now.
I hated those moments of seeing Dawn shut out. Not just because I'm a mom and I have a son, and I know that's my future one day, but I remembered when I did that to my
Shutting
mom.
your own mom out, yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh, how are they supposed to reach you, damn it? That's what I thought. It was like,
how did we get through to you?
I just want to love your mean ass. Those teenage years are really
Girl,
bad.
they're the worst. It's brutal.
Really bad.
It's brutal.
And someone said, you lose your kid at 12 or 15 and they come back at 25. That's a long ass time.
But I tell you what you learn in that moment, at least what I learned from my son, is that some of the business of loving a person is witnessing them. Is being a witness. Is being a witness. Watching them.
Right.
Yep.
Because we are so ready to tell people who they are and in the process of them becoming and shifting gears when really it's so true. And I feel the same way about what my child has taught me. Leo has taught me to just sit back and be a witness.
Yeah.
Not only to him, but to myself.
Oh. Yeah. Girl, how your children will raise you.
It's nuts. It's
how
nuts.
your children will raise. Because you think I'm the mother. I'm gonna teach you. I'm gonna tell you. And not to put your child in that position. Because again, they don't. I mean, your son has been in the world how many years?
2.
Just 2 years. 2 years. He don't know enough. But they do come in with wisdom, right, Keke? And if you let them raise you up a little bit more, they do the rest of the job that your mom tried so hard to do, but couldn't do all of those things because she only had what she had. Do you know what I mean?
That's right. And she gave us so we could have more, so we could then our children could have more. And it's like
exactly.
That's such an important thing that I think we do get to. And hopefully my mom has felt that way with me, that it has come back around.
Yeah.
I've realized that through my own children, through my own growth, what she did and why I am who I am because of what she gave up.
Right.
And
did you go back and apologize and say, Mom, I'm so sorry?
I apologize all the time because I'm like, what a little seriously. I'm so happy she loved me still.
Baby, this is Keke Palmer, yeah.
Baby, I have never, and I mean never, been more devastated than when I found out that some of y'all been sneaking around behind Domino's back just to get your stuffed crust fix. Now, you know us Virgos are incredibly loyal, steadfast even. Cheating, especially on something as serious as Parmesan stuffed crust pizza, ain't gonna fly in this house. I saw y'all slide into those other pizza spots drive-thrus, ordering that cheese-filled crust like Domino's, and I wouldn't find out about your little rendezvous. But sweetie, the healing starts today because Domino's just dropped their own stuffed crust, and now y'all got no excuse to keep stepping out on them like this. It's time to put those pizza cheating ways to rest. Domino's new Parmesan stuffed crust is serving pure decadence with that buttery, handmade dough wrapped around a cascading stream of 100% melty goodness. These are the cheese pools of your dreams. It's very much a Goofy movie level of ooey gooey cheesy deliciousness. And of course, your girl can't forget about that signature garlic seasoning and Parmesan sprinkle dance on top of that perfectly baked crust, making every single taste like it was blessed by the pizza gods themselves. You can think about it now. I'm already imagining the parm stuffed pie I've been plotting on. Next time I'm placing my order, you best believe I'm having mushrooms, grilled onions, and some extra peppers just to, keep the vegetables on top. Now, this is the kind of commitment I'm talking about. No more pizza cheating needed when Domino's is bringing this level of excellence to the table. Order Domino's new Parmesan stuffed crust pizza on the Domino's app and use code Keke to get any 3-topping Parmesan stuffed crust pizza for $11.99. Price is higher for some locations. You must ask for this limited time offer. Prices, participation, delivery area, and charges may vary. Delivery orders subject to local stores' delivery charge. Holla at your girl. Dawn is doing obviously everything out of love. But sometimes, this is what we're talking about, her son sees it as control. So did playing her kind of shift, like were there any light bulb moments for you or triggering things in a positive or a negative way that made you look at your relation to your children or your son specifically differently?
Dawn is a spark from Mara Brakakil to me. And my imagination was fired so brightly in the direction of who this woman is. But Dawn is not me.
Yeah.
So everything Dawn did sort of came out of this this gesture towards creating a real human being on screen, out of people I know and my mother and my mother's silhouette and women I've come to support and love. But Dawn is not me. So she did teach me some things about positive things about being a little bit more firm at home.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I leaned very much in the direction of giving my children and their opinion, their ability to articulate their opinion in my house has a lot of weight.
Were there moments, or was there a particular moment where Dawn did something where you were like, should she do this? Or without, obviously, we don't really criticize our characters. We wouldn't be able to play them if we
Absolutely
did.
Not, yeah.
But was there something that you was like, I would have did this differently?
I think what we did have was Dawn drinking a lot more than you guys actually see. And smoking weed. And I was like, does she always have to have a cocktail in her hand? Does she always have a glass of red wine?
Oh my God.
So that because I don't drink in front of my kids. I drank when they were, but now I'm sort of like pulled back a little bit because the pandemic, we were drinking way too much in the pandemic. But yeah, Dawn was drinking a lot more wine.
Okay, yeah.
And smoking
so we pulled
a lot
that
more.
back.
I said, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Would Dawn really have? No, I'm just kidding. She didn't have anything to. But that was the biggest thing that that I remember thinking.
Yeah.
We need to do this a little bit differently. But no, every decision Dawn made, I knew even if I was digging a hole for her, I was going to find an episode later on to dig her out of it. And I think that's why people respect and love that character so much, because if you've seen all 8 episodes, you know that Dawn has true moments of redemption in episode 3 from episode 1 and episode 6 from episode 4.
I mean, I personally lived for Dawn down. Like, I think she did, I don't want to say she did everything right, but I did feel like she kind of was doing what was right as a parent. Mm-hmm. She wasn't necessarily seeing her child as an individual outside of her parenting, which maybe was the toughest thing. Yeah. But, an interesting part of the show that I love that it broke open was the whole PWI thing. Uh-huh. When we're talking about preparing him for school, giving him the best opportunities as a young Black man in the world, and his experience with high school and even his challenges, but pushing through. I'm curious of what you thought, how the situation went down in real time and in story, because that really hit me like a ton of bricks where I'm like, damn, here's a mother trying to prepare her son for what the world is really like, especially if he's going to be having a chance in corporate America, which corporate America is in everything, even in the arts, as we know. We're still a part of a corporation to some degree 100%. Where we would be the minority. Mm-hmm. How do I balance that reality and prepare my child to have the best outcome, but still honor their Blackness? Because, for me, I remember my parents put me in the Catholic school early on. I was teased and bullied so bad. Yeah. I look back now, I know why my parents put me in that school. I know the ability I have to code switch. I remember going to the school and this was how I existed. But then when I went home in my neighborhood, this is how I existed. Yeah. But Justin grew up in a very upper middle class. So where was his escape? Right. So I loved that conversation. So I want to bring that up.
I very much had that experience too. The other day I was in a situation where I was one of maybe the only one African-American actress in a sort of a situation with a lot of other white actresses. Right. And I felt so triggered because I went back to that experience as a child, being in a predominantly white school. And I just didn't feel pretty. Do you know? Yeah. My version of the version of pretty that was pretty was not this curly Black hair and this brown skin. Yeah. And I said, we're not there anymore, Karen. Do you know the things that we carry along with us as African Americans, as women in this world? But yeah, I do think in this case, as far as being in a predominantly white environment, we live in that world so much, even beyond getting out of these educational institutions. It's been a real lesson for me. I think that Black people in general carry this experience with us, and it just helps to deepen our experience of life. It creates depth in our relationships. We have a better understanding, but how painful and sad it is to have these experiences so young and go out into the world with them and understand where we have to compartmentalize or put them to the side, or how are we going to do it? For me, so much of it has been acting, art, music, to be in the full expression of self.
That's right.
Using that experience and sharing it in the characters that I create, in the music that I play and played. And it sort of frees me up, but in this really interesting way, it frees up other people. As a part of this experience doing the show, I didn't realize, I had no clue that this character was going to mean as much as she did. But right before this show came to pass, I had to make this incredible gesture towards my daughter to bring her out to LA and enroll her into school and do all that really important mother work. I had to grow up in so many ways. And what I didn't expect when I saw the show was how that would be imbued in Dawn. That incredible personal experience, that gesture, that life force was going to further extend to Dawn as a character.
And why do you think it did? I mean, life does that, right? We have an experience in life and it deepens us and we put it into our work. But why do you think that?
I just think the universe was like, let's help you put all of that thing that you went through, because it's a big thing.
It is.
Number one, Keke, bringing a child into the world, but then steering that child in the direction you think they need to go. And then they're pulling against you, but then you keep on pulling them. Because I think parenting is the longest game. It is the long, long, long game. I don't expect to see the dividends, if it were, or
that makes total sense.
the results of all the work that I've done with my kids. I don't expect to see it. I probably will be long gone by the time damn, Mom was right about, you know what I mean? I might not. And still, I feel like I have to do this. This is the right thing to do by you. And so this is what we're going to do. And I think that Dawn is another gesture of mine artistically into the world to say, hey, this is part of what I have come to Earth to do, what I'm here for. This is part of my life force energy. I want to spend it with these people. I want to spend it with Mara. I want to spend it with Keke. I want to spend it with, my daughter Lena. And this is where my life force has been while I've been on this earth. And
spoken like a true artist. I couldn't agree with you more. I think it's just the way we feel. We got to process so much. Let me do it through this piece that I created.
Right.
Yeah. What message do you think that the show is trying to say to parents, that try to do everything right? And I say that because I found myself simultaneously watching the show with my parents. Like I was watching the show and then my mom texted me, was like, hey, you seen Forever? And I'm like, Mama, you watching Forever? Like, me and your father watching it right now. And it's like, it's this window for both of us to watch and view what was, what is, what's going to be. And so
that's
what do you
the way to watch it, by the way,
Girl,
with your parents, with your kids. That's the way to watch that show. I don't know what I hope people to get out of it. I hope they're entertained.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, I hope they laugh. I hope they cry. I hope they find some relief in this world.
Come on, exhale.
Exhale. Hope they exhale. That's what I hope. Because you do feel like you're holding your breath a lot. And I think that's part of it. I've been really going over because listen, Keke, this show is so huge.
It's so good.
It's crazy.
It's incredible. I'm telling you, I watched it in like 2 days, 3 days. I'm serious. It's what we needed, what we wanted for our past self, for our future. That's what I'm saying. I was coming from the place of being Keisha, of being Justin, of being Karen,
of being Dawn, being Eric, of being everybody.
I was really like, wow.
It's crazy.
It did everything right.
I've never been a part of anything that
so
has
special.
As had a stranglehold on chokehold. People, I saw it 2 times. I'm on my 3rd watch. I'm on my 4th watch. I'm like, honey, it's only been out 2 weeks. What you been doing besides
seriously?
Show?
I've also been Zosha. You know what I mean?
Zosha,
I've been the single parent as well. I felt every role.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it speaks to so many people. There was no rock left unturned.
Yeah, I also think that we are living in a time that is so hostile toward these stories of inclusivity and diversity, and we're just so desperate, hungry for some spiritual food. We want something to
Give
really
me
nourish. Yeah, because we've been eating these Happy Meals, nothing wrong with McDonald's.
No.
But every now and then you need a really hearty, spiritual...
home cooked meal.
Yeah.
Another thing that the show touches on is, not just the reality of racism, even classism, but Don's character, your character Don, is also trying to protect Justin from heartbreak, from love. I mean, that's a big thing too. I feel like my mom was trying to protect me so much from love that I was just like, I don't need a man. To this day.
Wow.
You know what I mean? She was protecting me so much.
Yeah.
And my dad was like, you could do it on your own.
Yeah.
They were both
Very
so you could do it
much.
on your own that it's like, I don't even necessarily always have space to let a brother in.
That's right.
So I'm curious for you when it comes to your daughter and
Very
your
much.
son. And, even with this show and that display, how do we teach our kids how to love and how to be vulnerable, but how to protect themselves?
How to protect themselves. I know.
Because you should be able to do both.
I grew up with a mom that was like, not that you don't need, but you better have your own.
Yes, like a threat.
Don't.
You better have it.
Don't wait for a man to buy you nothing. You better go.
And now I can't get nobody to give me no dinner because I'm too busy making sure I got it on my own. Like, God
I buy my own flowers every day.
Exactly. Brother's
up,
scared.
but
I'm just like,
can I get some flowers? Because you already got flowers at home, Karen. Everybody sees it. You already bought your own flowers. Yeah, like I think that's part of the challenge. I try to. Some of it for me is just softening,
Yeah.
Softening around that. It took me a long time to find a man that I would let in. And finally, I let him in. My daughter is now 14. Allowed myself to really fall in love when she turned 14 because I wanted her to know. I felt like I had to wait until she was at an age where she knew I devoted so much of my life to her growth. And when I told her that, she was like, Mom, you didn't have to do that. I was like, I didn't do it consciously.
Yeah, just what I felt was
just
true.
wanted you to know that there was no one more important to me than you. And she's like, well, 14 years you waited? I was like, I had a couple of things
I did something
over
on the
there.
side.
I did something on the side.
They wasn't serious.
Yeah, I was out there playing around a little bit. But I didn't take none of it seriously. I didn't take any of it seriously until I got to Ade, who is now my fiance.
Shout out to Ade.
Shout out,
Bless
Ade.
that brother.
We love you. And so, I think for Lena, she does now see me in a relationship with my son, so adores it. But for a long time, they were like, Mom, you're not going to have anybody? Who do you have? And so I started to do that. Once I found love for myself, once I found someone for me, I think that they started to understand that they can go out into the world and find love too. But I had to love myself. And I think that's so much of the message of Forever too.
Yeah, it is. It's familiar love, romantic love, self-love.
Self-love. And I think that that's something that Justin shows from episode 1. When Keisha blocks him and he steals that car, not a car, but he has his driver instructor take him over to Keisha's school and he sits out there and says, listen, this is who I am. And I think we could have a chance. And, if you, let me in, we could have something special. And she's like, And I was like, when I read it, because it was so beautiful. It is about, so much of it is about loving yourself. Even when we get to that last episode, Justin, Michael Cooper says the same thing. I don't want to give it away in case anybody has not yet seen it.
Spoiler alert.
But it comes, but the end of the story does come where they start talking about they want to first love themselves, first do what's right for themselves, and then the
reality of letting love not be codependency and a crutch to bring you back to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's important. I know I got to go soon, so I want to bring Sharon, my mom, in because, I know she's a huge fan of the show as well, and I want to just, have her talk and us get into a little bit more conversation. So let's bring that chair in, guys.
Yay.
Karen, I could not have you on this show and not have my mother come and talk, and just sharing this discussion. We're all boy moms. We all love Forever.
Yes.
And there's so many themes, that I think are exciting to discuss about this show. So I want to ask you, Mom, what was your reaction and connection to Dawn and the themes of Forever? Because you were telling me, Karen, that everybody loved Eric, but sometimes they're tough.
Sometimes they're very
on
tough
Dawn.
on Dawn, yeah.
That is the same dynamics that I have in real life. Everyone loves Larry.
It's my dad.
But Sharon is the crazy one.
First of all, does she not sound just like Keke? You guys sound just
Well,
so funny.
I've heard that a couple of times before. But I recognized us so much.
That's right.
in that in Forever. Everyone loves Larry, and he's the rational one, and I'm the one that's over the top and all this kind of stuff. But it's a dynamic that works, He comes in and he's calm and whatever, but if I'm not revel-rousing and moving along, a lot of stuff don't get done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's definitely Dawn. I mean, she is but they also allow themselves to be who they are. And I think that's very important. Written into the script is that Dawn is a little, quote unquote, over the top. I don't think she's over the top. We don't think she's over the top.
No, I
don't. And Eric is kind of laid back and pragmatic. Do you know what I mean? And that works for them. I think that also allows them to have the relationship they have.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. We're talking about a lot of the themes around, Justin going to the BWI, being around predominantly white kids and the racial expectation there. And even the conversation about Keisha when, Karen's character, Dawn, finally realizes about, or learns about this sex tape. She's like, the village of her school failed her as a young Black woman. They totally did not treat her with innocence or concern. They just wrote her off and didn't even tell her mother or anything. So I want to talk to you, Mom, because obviously, the twins, my little brother and little sister, they went to predominantly white schools most of their life until Laurencia went to, FAMU. She chose the HBCU specifically. And then obviously L'Oreal and I had two totally different experiences going to a predominantly white institution. So what was it like for you? How was it watching that on screen? And then how did you handle it in real time?
Oh, my goodness. So we didn't pick a school because it was predominantly white.
Right.
We chose a school because it had the curriculum we wanted and also faith-based. My husband is a deacon in the, Catholic faith. He had graduated from Catholic schools. And so, every time we would say, what do we want for the kids? Most of the time I would win. It was like, I want this for the kids. I want this for the kids. And he would let me. But for school, he was adamant. He says, I will work 2 jobs.
Wow.
To put my kids through
the right education.
Yeah,
the one I want.
So I went along with him because he was just so passionate about it. I went to public school. I thought I did just fine. But he said it teaches them, it gives them more of a chance on life. It teaches them more how to care for other people, how to have that's what he said. So I went along with it. So when Keke, years later told me what the experience was like, it hurt my heart.
Yeah.
What I would tell you during, and I feel like, you and Dad really tried to, I don't have any criticism towards what you did because I felt it was explained in the moment as best as you could as a kid. But I just remember you telling me people would pay for your lips.
Yeah.
People would,
I remember there was a
me.
specific incident when you would come home and you'd say they called, I would put the little gel in her hair and brush her little hair up. And she would say said her hair was hard because the gel would, we're in Chicago, it's freezing cold. So the gel would, freeze. And they would talk about her hair and they would say things about her. And I'd say, one day people are going to pay for your lips. Your hair is so gorgeous. And it makes me want to cry because when she did Nope, it was her hair.
Yeah.
And people don't understand she had been in the business for 17 years?
Yeah.
And for a director to say, I want your hair. And for millions of people to see her hair. And there was a scene where she's in the car with Daniel Kaluuya. And she leans her hair out the window and a curl just blows.
I remember this scene.
And I remember telling her as a little girl, your hair is beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't ever let anybody tell you that it isn't.
Yeah.
Now, we as Black women in this industry, we wear wigs and things like that because we trying to protect our hair.
We're trying to protect our hair, and it's also historically. I mean, we just got the Crown Act passed.
Yeah.
What does that mean? That means that it was actually, to some degree, almost illegal for us to wear our hair as a natural.
You can lose your job.
You can
in certain
lose your
states, it
job.
still isn't legal, right?
That's
They
right.
still,
what I mean?
they have not enacted the Crown Act.
So it's not just we protecting our hair; it's that this is systemically, this is programmed.
It's another form of discrimination.
It is.
It is
And so
another form of discrimination.
And when you think about me, when I came up in this industry as a young Black child actor that had her own show, there was a lot of assimilation attached to that. I had to reprogram my connection to weaves and wigs and stuff to know that I can do it, but I'm fine without it.
Without doing
because
it,
that was a big part of the sell. Being able to be an actor or a Black actress that can show up in white spaces and not be that's a thing. You know what I mean? To know, okay, what's me trying to make it in this world and understand this structure and this language, but also remain myself.
Yeah.
So when I see the cultural and social conversations around this, and yes, Nope, Jordan Peele's ability to be somebody in the front line of that and say, yeah, we need this kind of Black American iconography up there. That is what changes that, because we can only do so much in our workspace when, yes, we're still being discriminated against.
Yeah.
So those, I spent many years in this industry where that was just not a topic.
Well, also, thank you for sharing that, because it was so powerful. And I think it's not just tears for your daughter, but also tears for all who we were as young Black girls.
Amen.
Being told we had to be different, we couldn't be who we were. There's a very conscious effort on the part of hair and makeup team on Forever that Dawn would start the show with natural hair, that her hair would end up being, blown dry, but it would also look like it had texture in it.
Yes.
These are real conversations that we know we need to have, especially when we're putting out these stories. We're throwing out these stories. This is what we think that Black families look like nowadays. Pay attention to this. We know it's an important conversation to have.
I love Dawn's character because I identify with her so much because she went to Northwestern. So she was an overachiever.
Mm-hmm.
She understands corporate America. She probably is the Black woman that's in the office with the white executives. So she's able to assimilate.
Mm-hmm.
But she also knows how to electric slide.
Yes.
You know?
Okay.
She also knows what it's like to be in the hood. And the scene that first of all, I love so much, but the little things that I loved is that she went and drove her car to the hood.
Oh, yeah.
And she wasn't like, oh my God, I'm in the hood. I thought that's where Mara would take it. I said, now watch her drive this little girl home and then act like she never been to Inglewood.
Mom, I'm on the floor.
But you didn't. That
No.
Dawn did not. Dawn was like, hey.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember this. This is it. She wasn't ashamed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
She wasn't ashamed.
I think
I
that's
loved it.
I think that's also the part that when I hear you were bringing up, the Cosby Show, or that show came out in a time where respectability politics were also like a form of activism, right?
Yeah.
It's like showing up, how you look, how you act, and what your expectation is of others. It's not about gatekeeping, but it's about protecting and being able to create a space for Black people to succeed at heights.
Right.
What we saw in that scene was an evolution of that.
Yep, absolutely.
Where it's like, it's cool if she from over here too.
Yeah.
Yes.
It ain't about, I'm not gonna, I think that's important because it's like, yeah, we can be this and we can expect this, but also like if you we don't know what we don't know, or we is where we at,
It
and
would
that's
have
cool.
been typical.
Yeah.
It would have been
It's important.
typical for her to have that conversation with her son, where she from the hood. She never went there,
Never.
but she did go there with the sex tape, and I understood
In a good way.
that. Yeah, she needs to tell her son, honey, everybody don't want to be saved. You got this little girl, and I'm glad, and I've struggled with this with Keke many times, because what happens is you raise your kid to want to help everyone. You put them in church, you do all of the right things, and you tell them don't look down on people and be nice to everyone. Then the first time they bring one of their little stray friends home, that is not about good at all.
Yeah.
what do you say?
Yeah.
Because you've spent all this time telling them to help people.
Yeah.
And that's where my husband came in and said.
That's where he came in the show,
He
too.
said, Sharon, Keke is smart.
Mm-hmm.
She will figure it out.
She will figure it out.
If this person is not someone who should be in her life, then let her decide. Because what you're going to do is you're going to alienate her, you're going to push her away, and she's going to go to that person.
Right.
So make your mind up.
Yeah.
Do you want to push her to people, or do you want to let her live her life and figure it out? And when the Woods character said that, he was like, I told you.
Not the show. It was the representation y'all needed. I'm on the floor. Well, I could go on and on and on with this, but I just wanted to have this moment. I mean, I'm just so happy about the show. I can't wait till the second season of Forever and to see where this journey is going to take us. Because the show starts in, 2018 or something?
Right.
So, I mean, we're 2025. So I'm expecting, quite a few more seasons to see where this family has left off, where these two lovers, teen lovers, have left off. But I thank you guys for this show. It really, and I thank you so much for coming on here.
Yeah, you're awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
Forever isn't just a title. It's a statement about the love we carry, the lessons we pass on, and the legacy we build. Karen Pittman, thank you so much for reminding us that Black motherhood is sacred, and it's time we keep honoring that on and off screen. And watching you, it reminded me of my own mama. The way she raised me, fought for me, guided me. That's what Dawn's doing. And I know so many folks are going to feel that watching this show. Until next time, it's your girl.
Baby, this is